Welcome to Haken, an Animal Crossing podcast, your podcast dedicated to all things Animal Crossing. Episode 91 is brought to you by Newt, one of our newest Patreon patrons. Today, Sergio and I will be talking about farming in Animal Crossing and what info Sergio wants about Animal Crossing New Horizons. So to begin, hello Sergio, how you doing?
Hi Chewy, I'm doing rather well. How are you doing?
I'm doing well as well. It's been a good weekend. I've been back this weekend and I can finally just sit down and make some content. So I already have like the Friday video done and everything, so it's been good.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, what have you been up to this weekend?
Nothing too big, just a lot of little things, but lucky and funny enough, I actually was able to play Animal Crossing New Leaf again, and beautiful Hazel is still in my town, amazing girl. And I actually visited I got a chance to see the fireworks, the fireworks festival, so that was pretty awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome. I played today as well, but not late enough to see the fireworks, so I missed them, but I keep forgetting I've returned your 3DS, and now you can finally get back into Madera and do all of the things there.
yeah. And not a lot of changes, but my first priority was to check if Hazel was there, and she is. She asked me why I haven't talked to her in 12 months. You know how specific they are, but I just said, just been busy, but she was happy to see me. Me too.
I mean, more like I stole her away for a while. So I guess before we get really deep into this show, which we're gonna do, like always, we just want to give you all a heads up. Next week, we're doing a listener mail episode. So if you have any questions, comments, anything you want us to open up and read on the show, please leave a comment on YouTube, tweet at us. You can find, I guess I'm at Chewy Plays Nintendo with NTDO as my handle. Sergio, I think I know yours. At Sergio ALB64.
Yes.
Cool. Nailed it. So, yeah, you can tweet at us or send an email. I'm chewyplaysnintendo@gmail.com. And I'll share anything with Sergio if you send it to him too. So, yeah, be sure to give us some listener mail, and we'll go through it in next week's show. It should be pretty fun. We always get some really good questions from people, you know? Cool. So let's get into this show, Sergio. We're going to be talking about farming in Animal Crossing New Horizons. And this is controversial, just like crafting was very controversial. Yes. A lot of people in the comments sections of my videos said, no, they don't want farming. It would ruin Animal Crossing. It's just not that kind of game. And to them, I kind of say it sort of existed from the beginning of the game, you know?
Mm-hmm.
We've gotten essentially fruit trees in the past, and Wild World, I'd say, was the bulk of my farming lifestyle, where I just planted tons and tons of foreign fruit trees, and I would just go walk through every 3 days, pick every single fruit and sell it, and it took so
yes.
long, because stuff just didn't stack back then, you know?
Right.
It was, you only had 15 fruit that you could carry, and we're spoiled now with New Leaf, you know? And then outside of that, there's also kind of like the flower hybrid breeding type of functionality, where it's not exactly farming, but you do kind of take care of a crop of flowers to try to get the right blooms,
right.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's a big thing. And I'd say that one's probably more popular than the trees at this point, just because getting those hybrid flowers is, I know I didn't have to try too hard because I just went with red flowers in my town, but some people really go by those flower color themes, you know?
Yes.
So
mm-hmm.
It's a big deal for a lot of players.
Yeah, and there's so many colors that you want to get at least one of each one, to begin with. But then once you have at least two of each, you're like, oh, well, I want a big patch of this nice color and this type. So you kind of get into it a lot.
Yeah, that's true. Once you have two of the same flower, same color, you're good to go. You
Yes.
can just keep duplicating those, like focus all your efforts there, and it gets pretty easy to just breed more and more flowers for
Right.
yourself. Um, and then I did want to mention also, like, New Leaf introduced bushes, and the whole time before New Leaf came out, I was truly expecting there to be fruit that would grow on the bushes. I was thinking like
Right.
raspberries and blackberries and blueberries, all those sort of things, but it didn't turn out. We do kind of have the holly bushes that I guess it's kind of a berry, not one you really want to eat, but it is something. And unfortunately, we can't do anything with it.
Right. Right.
Yeah, so I guess I wanted to, turn over to a question, Sergio. What do you think about farming? Would you want farming added to the game?
Well, technically I would, but I don't see it like as a high priority. It's something that I want added either in New Horizons or in a recent new Animal Crossing game. Like, I want other things first. I want to see like bigger multiplayer. Like in some previous episodes, we talked like about some big hub world, like a city place where a lot of players can be there at any given time. It's like a vacation spot type of thing, and then depending on how the players take care of that city, it changes for everybody. I want to see something like that, or I want to see a lot of additions to how you build your town, almost like some of those city simulator type of games. I want them to really make it so that you are in control of every little part of your town. I would rather see a couple of those things before farming, but if they add farming, I'm all for it.
Yeah, and I do remember a long time ago we had our discussion, and I kind of brought up the idea of having more of a diorama model type of thing for your
Yes.
town at the town hall, and then being able to get that like city builder perspective where you're floating over your town. You're not really attached to your body or anything, but it'll give you that like bird's eye view of your town and let you pick and choose exactly where you want to place items,
Yes.
which would be very cool. So yeah, I mean, I guess I do. When you say it that way, I guess there are probably things I would want to prioritize over adding farming,
Right.
but I'll also say that the way I want farming to be added is not so much like it's added, but more expanded upon, by like how
Mm.
it exists. Um, so I'll explain that a little more, but I guess if we were to have farming, what role would you want it to play in your game?
I would want it nothing too dramatic. I want it to be something like an expansion to what we already have. Like you said, the trees, the orchids. We're so used to that, and it's like a way to get money. I would want the same thing for farming. It would be. I'm thinking the best way would be if it's like a weekly thing. You have to be very patient with your farm or your crops for a week before you can reap the rewards from it, basically. And it would be a way to make money. So it would be like a little thing for you to do every day. I don't see it as any more than that. I think would be a little too much. I do see like a shop. They can add a shop with maybe a new special character for selling seeds and tools for the farm, definitely. But if it's any more than that, I think it would really have to be like the main focus of a game. So I don't think it's gonna be in New Horizons because I think crafting is gonna be the big new thing. But maybe in a future one for sure.
I mean, we do have Leaf, who would already be pretty good in that role too.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I feel like there's enough
Hmm.
established that it works, and I'm really glad you brought up like it happening over the span of a week because there is a bit of a time delay on uh the trees. Whenever they grow fruit, it
Right.
takes about 3 days for them to regrow fruit after you've picked them. And I guess it'd be I think we can do an interesting thing where there are crops that are more like trees, and maybe they take about a week before they make
Hmm.
fruit again,
Right.
and maybe you get a little bonus for like adding fertilizer or watering them every day,
Yes. Hmm.
because I do think back to Wild World, and we had the red turnip seed, and we could only buy one a week. And then Joan, you essentially bought them from Joan. I guess Joan also works for like a farmer type of character,
Oh yeah.
now that I bring her up. But anyways, so Joan would sell you one a week, and you would plant that, and you had to water it every single day for a week. And then it would be essentially a 16,000 bell turnip for you to sell at the end of the week.
Yes.
However, if you missed a single day, your turnip was toast. If you did not water it, it was gone. It was dead. Like there was no way around that. And you couldn't like time travel to fix it. Maybe I tried that. Who knows? But essentially, like once it was dead, it was dead. And that just ruined your, like, say you made it through 6 of the 7 days of doing this, and then all of a sudden you just forget at the very end, and then it's gone,
Yeah.
So I will say, like, that's too demanding.
Yes.
It's too demanding on the players, especially those who don't really want farming in the game, because they're gonna... Now, that's one of those tasks that can quickly become tedious, and I see it being the one that people start to lose track of. But rather, like, the planting a tree is pretty easy. Like, once it's planted, you don't really have to water it. It just grows on its own. There's not really anything. And, there's spaces where the trees won't grow. And, you just kind of discover those as you play.
Right.
But other than that, like once it's grown, you're done. Like it'll keep producing fruit forever. Of course, that's different with the perfect fruit, which will eventually die off, lose all their leaves, and look perfect for the fall time.
Yes.
So, I love that they all lose their leaves, and it makes it's my aesthetic, that like haunted, dead feel. It's great. But anyways, yeah, I think there's a way to do it where it's not too much on the players, because, we have a lot of daily tasks to do. I'm sure we'll have a lot of daily tasks in this new Horizons game. And, just adding something like actually busy and actually like punishing if you don't do it, that's going to be hard.
Yeah.
Especially for, like I mentioned, just the players who don't want it in the first place.
Right.
They're just going to be angry at that feature. So anyways, my thinking with this was essentially that, like, we've always been able to create orchards. We could make essentially our crops fruits and everything, and it's always just been kind of an additional part of the game. So I feel like it would be okay to expand upon it and maybe expand the things we can grow, expand how they look, and how it kind of decorates our town as well, because I think that's the most important part. Because trees are a big deal to me. I'm gonna go on and on about trees a little bit later, so I won't right now. But anyways, trees are a big thing for me, and I really like how they look in Animal Crossing. And so having different plants and things, different types of plant life, like the bamboo went a long way with New Leaf, that it just expanded how things looked in your town. So I want to see crops that kind of do that. Oh, the bushes as well. The bushes really expanded on that.
Yes.
But like I said, I wanted them to add berries and stuff. So I guess as far as expanding things, I did kind of list a bunch of crops that I thought would be really cool to add to the game. So like berries from bushes, that could be strawberries, which technically not a berry. I forget what kind of fruit they are. Blackberries, raspberries, blueberries, just like bushes that grow berries.
Yes.
Vegetables would be very fun as well, like the cucumber, which is technically a fruit, not a vegetable.
Right.
Then lettuce and tomatoes, which are also a fruit, not a vegetable. What is a vegetable? I don't know. But there's also like potatoes, radishes, grapes, melons, I guess are fruit, pumpkins, also fruit.
Yeah.
And then nuts. It blew my mind when I found out like nuts grew on trees. I was like, I don't know what I expected them to grow on, but for some reason it wasn't trees. But you got acorns, walnuts, almonds, pecans, cashews, all sorts of things. And we have gotten acorns in the past. We
Right.
got acorns in Wild World. And that's awesome. It was so cool to see Cornimer show up, and we had a new collectible item that hasn't really returned since that game, you know?
Right.
So I love the idea of just having more stuff to collect, more stuff to plant, and really, you know, I made a very focused town with my new leaf when I did like my whole redesign thing. I
Hmm.
wanted essentially everything to be red. So I stuck with apples, I stuck with cherries. I didn't really get fruit beyond that. I'd probably add a peach here and there, you know?
Hmm.
But and then after that I was just like red flowers with, you know, some blue ones every once in a while. But I like the idea of people being able to make a very focused town. Like maybe you really like the look of walnut trees, so you just decide to grow all of those. But of course, I don't know. I I'm really hoping that we get a variety of trees, but I've been watching the treehouse segment
Hmm.
specifically, just looking at the trees, and it's mostly I'm gonna keep going about this. Okay, so it's mostly because of my concern about the cedar saplings and where they're going to be able to grow and whether you're going to be able to plant them. You know, um,
Right.
because right now, from what I've seen in the footage, it looks like the cedar saplings only grow on the cliff parts of the map. Like you have to be on a cliff for them to grow.
Mm.
Of course, now we do have the feature where we can dig up trees and transplant them completely,
Oh,
but I
okay.
just so I'm really hoping that that is our way around the limitations, you know? I'm
Yeah.
hoping that that lets us grow our trees or at least move our trees to wherever we want.
Right. Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah. And you know, maybe that could also work with like the palm trees cuz those historically have only ever grown on the beach. Like they had to be
Yes.
a certain amount of, I guess, a certain amount of spaces away from the beach in order to grow. And now I'm just like, can I grow a palm tree and move it up here, like way up on this cliff, you know?
Yeah, yeah. And you know what? Going back to your approach to farming about adding to it, adding to what's already in the game, I can see that especially because of a few things that we have seen in New Horizons. We know that the flowers are gonna work differently now because we kind of need to grow them before they actually bloom fully instead of you plant them and they're already grown and you can see them. It's going to be a system now. That's a big change. And even the weeds are similar. There's little ones that grow into bigger ones, so I can definitely see them doing the same thing for the trees, depending on how you plant them and if you need to take care of them. They might grow bigger, especially if it's an older tree that you planted a while ago compared to other ones. Yeah, eventually they might grow bigger, even if you're able to transplant them, which hopefully that's the case. So I think it's very possible to have different size trees. I think that would be great.
So let's go ahead and move on to what Sergio wants to see in New Horizons. And I made a video recently, it was just this past Friday, and I kind of talked about 5 things that I wanted to see as far as news went when Animal Crossing came out. Just some more features that I want expanded upon. So, anyways, just a quick recap on mine. I wanted to learn more about the multiplayer aspects of the game, the airport, Nook Miles, cliffs, and I already did my whole spiel about the trees and everything, so we'll skip that here. And then I was also hoping to learn more about the decorating, especially interior decorating, just to find out if we could get ceiling items again in this game. So,
Oh, right,
anyways,
right.
Sergio. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. So, Sergio, I'm really interested to know what you're looking or what you're excited about seeing in this next game.
Yeah. So the first thing that I want to see, first and foremost, my priority, I want to see the things that are going to keep us coming back to this game. I want to see the long lasting aspects of it, besides our love for the series, which we already have. So I want to see what else is new. What are they adding to keep us coming back? For example, like they did with the batches in New Leaf. Or how is the town building going to work? How are the shops going to be handled? Are you going to be able to build as many as you want, or is there a limited amount and you kind of have to switch them around, or if there's a new part of town that you're able to build eventually. I also want to know about the Nook Miles and if there's some that are, they're going to take a really long time to achieve. But I feel like those things that are going to take a long time, those are going to be some of the priorities for us that we want to be playing this game for a long time.
Yeah. I think I'm pretty interested in what you're saying with like having the badges and the Nook Miles, and because those kind of both feel like achievement systems to me. Do you think they can both exist in this world together?
Yeah, they're definitely similar, but I think they could coexist. I think it would be nice to still have like a batch collection, and it would be more like the ones that we're used to, from New Leaf, that having to do with how many times somebody has visited you or how many hours you played. But you're still probably gonna get Nook Mile rewards for them, but they're just gonna be separate. Maybe that's gonna give Phineas something to come back to do.
Yeah, that's true. I'm really wondering what Phineas is going to be doing because he's changed quite a bit for how few games he's been in.
Mhm.
For example, City Folk, he would show up at the city, he'd give out balloons or those pinwheel things, and yeah, outside of that, he just kind of gave you some things. And then New Leaf, he became the achievement system with the badges. So now I don't see him too often, which is kind of sad. But at the beginning of the game, I do remember loving every time he showed up in my town because I
Yes.
knew I was going to get some more rewards, which weren't really rewards. They were just the badges, you
Right.
know? But yeah, I'm really interested to see what he's going to be doing in this next game because it's got to be very different from what was going on in in the previous ones, just with like I feel like the Nook Miles, like you said, there are some ways to distinguish the two things, but
Mhm.
overall I feel like why not just move it over to the Nook Miles where we get rewarded for these actions that we do, you
Right.
know?
Right. Hmm.
The
And
other thing the other thing I really wanted to point out with your long lasting aspects is definitely the town buildings. I'm
mhm.
wondering, like, how are they going to work? Like, we saw this very bare bones town, and we know we're being tasked to build this place from scratch. How long is that going to take? Is it
Right.
going to take me 3 years? Is it going to take me one? Who knows, but I'm excited to do it.
Oh yeah, yeah, for sure. And we definitely want to see a little bit, at least a glimpse of that. Like if they can show us a fully developed town, even if they don't go into detail about it, we're gonna pick it apart. So we're good with some footage.
Yeah, even just seeing like a little clip of that on the trailer or something, that's going to be a big deal for us for sure.
Yeah, definitely. So another thing that I want to see, and this is sort of the opposite. I don't want to see. I guess the previous one was new things that I want to see, but this time I want to know about things that may be returning. Basically, I want to know specifically what's coming back from New Leaf that they haven't shown. I'm really curious. Is the major role completely gone? I mean, it looks like it, but I want to know for sure. I want to know about public works projects or if they're going to be limited to basically whatever you can craft. And probably more importantly, I want to know about the ordinances. Are we still going to have them? Is it going to be just the four that we're used to, or are they going to add more? Basically, I want them to discuss New Leaf in terms of how it is evolving or merging into new horizons. I want to know of some of the bigger aspects of New Leaf and how they are a part of the new game.
I do really like this approach that you're bringing here, especially with like, we've gotten confirmation that Isabel is going to be returning to this game, and we've only seen her in, well, at this point, like 4 games, Animal Crossing games, which is more than half, essentially. But, the only mainline game she's been in is New Leaf, and her
Right.
role there. was, the mayor's assistant. And even in Happy Home Designer, her role there was like she worked for the city and she was hiring you to build some things and decorate buildings around the city, And then
Mhm.
even in Pocket Camp, like she's there to guide you. Like she is always this character that's very in a, I guess, public type of workforce, a public servant, you can say. And so I see things like a town hall returning to your town if it were to get big enough. And
Mhm.
I definitely see Isabel being that mayor role. I mean, we could have Tortimer come back, of course, but I think at this point, Isabel's the big character for that role.
Yes. Mhm.
And then even beyond that, like the big thing was public works projects. And you do bring up a good question with that as well, because public works projects are essentially like we they're not as big a thing in this game based on how the decorating works. That
Right.
we can place any item outside, and so what I'm hoping happens is that we just get crafting recipes that let us build much bigger items than we've ever built before.
Yes. Mhm.
I guess a side note to that, I've spent money on Pocket Camp. I'm going to tell you right now, and it was all to buy the Apollo Cinema fortune cookie and
Oh.
try my best to get the big cinema screen that he has. And what's unique about this item is, the biggest items in Animal Crossing have tended to be a 2x2 item. Like say
Yes.
you catch a great white shark, you put that in your home, that takes a 2x2 space. What's unique about this big screen item is I think it's a 1x4 item. So it's like a very long item,
Mm.
but skinny.
Right. Yes.
So I'm feeling like I want to be able to craft things that are different than what we've gotten before. Because essentially every item we've gotten is like a 1x1, a 1x2, and then a 2x2.
Right.
And
Mhm.
we haven't seen anything like really beyond that. So I could see the public works projects returning in that way.
Yeah. Mhm.
And then the last thing you mentioned, of course, was the ordinances, which, it's funny because like the public works projects and ordinances, they all fall under that same mayor role that existed in New Leaf. And they essentially like depend on that being a thing for it to be possible.
Right.
So I don't know. And I guess I have my suspicions that shops are maybe going to be open 24/7 in this new game. And so I feel like they're going to rearrange like our ordinances and how they work and what we're going to be able to choose.
Yes. Mhm.
And I mean, that said, even if we can choose, because we don't know at this
Yeah.
point.
Right.
Yeah. So these are big things, Sergio.
Yeah,
These
for
are
sure.
these are just very big questions that who knows when we're going to know the answers to these things.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully it's not until release, but I mean, it's possible. But we expect more information on the game before it comes out. I mean, there has to be. So hopefully they answer some of these questions. And something else that I want to see more details about is also the decorating, but on my case, I want to see more about the exterior decorating because I want to know how the fencing is gonna work. I want to know how many exterior items you're gonna be able to place before you hit a certain limit. I mean, there has to be some limitations, right? But I want to see how big we can take things. I want to, for example, if we have all the items for it, can we build a little park in the middle of our town or like a playground or something? If the public works are gonna be something that we're gonna be crafting, I want to know how big the items can be, like you mentioned about different sizes. So I want to know about the exterior decorating, the fencing for sure. I know you're going to be able to make probably your own backyard and front yard, even if they're not officially that. At least if we can fence those areas, we can make them that. But it will be great if we are also able to do the same for our villagers' houses. The animals in town. Maybe they can ask us, "Hey, can you design a backyard for me?" And they tell us what items they would want, or we just pick for them. So either way, I just want to see a lot of exterior decorating.
I really like that because we're different here, but not in the way people will think I mean it. But I like that you are coming it from the approach of like, oh, maybe my villagers are gonna ask me to do this, because my whole mindset this entire time has been like, I can't wait to just make yards for my villagers. Like it's not, they're not even gonna ask me. I'm just gonna do it.
Right.
And I like that you're like, oh, you know, if I'm gonna be polite. If they ask, I'll sure, you know. But me, I'm just like, oh no, it's not up to them. I'm gonna design their exterior home to every possible extent of the way.
Nice.
But you know what? I want to kind of match their style. You know, I don't want to
Yeah.
go and turn it what I want it to be. I want to do something that I feel fits with that character and really makes it feel like that's their space, you know?
Yes. Mhm.
But they're not going to ask me to do that. I'm just doing it. But yeah, as far as that goes, like one of the biggest excitement that I have about this is the fences. We've already seen a couple of styles of fences. We already know a lot more types of fences actually exist because of Happy Home Designer. And
Yes.
honestly, I'm expecting a lot of those to make it into the game. We have like, because you know there's materials that we can make. I'm expecting us to be able to make like brick walls and wooden fences and rope fences and pretty much anything you can think of fences, you know. So
Yes.
make one out of seashells. I don't know. I think there's just a lot of possibilities with the types of fencing that you can do. So it's gotta, I'm really excited to just really essentially like determine the space where my villager is going to call home, and then do all the decorating around that, and hopefully we can also build little gates so they can, you know, walk through and it's all cute.
Yes. Nice.
Yeah, just click A and it'll open for you. I see, I already got it all planned out, the button command. See, programmers, it's not that hard. No, I'm just kidding. This is all very difficult. And I can't wrap my mind around how people are able to make these games. It's amazing.
Nice. So, yeah, speaking of the villagers, I also want to know more about them. I want to know how, if there's gotta be new ones. I want to see some of them. I want to see also new special characters. I want to see if the existing villagers in your town, they might ask you for different things. We kind of miss the fact that in population growing, they would ask us for chores like, what do you want me to, do you have anything for me, or can you take this to someone, or this person borrowed this item, can you get it back? I want to see little details like that. And of course, I want to see how many total villagers we're gonna have per island. So I just want to know more about them and also the special characters.
So many things here. I totally want to see like how the villagers' personalities are written in this game. I know a lot of people complained about them being, you know, pretty tame in New Leaf. They got very sweet, nice dialogue, and none of them were very pushy or aggressive toward you, you know?
Right.
And so, you know, I think people want to see a little bit more character come out. At least, like, if they're a snooty personality type, let them be snooty. You know, if they're cranky,
Yes.
let them be cranky. So I think that's what people are hoping for. And then also, you mentioned the thing about, what did you mention? Not how many per island. What did you say before that?
The things that they would ask us to do, like
Yes,
chores or
yes. Yeah, definitely. So I still miss that to this day. I want to go running on some wild goose chases to find Puck's Game Boy that he let Goose borrow, you know? um, and then Goose was like, "Oh, that wasn't mine. I let somebody else borrow that. Oops." You know, it was just fun to go start running around your town, and I also feel like Animal Crossing population growing had a lot of random things happen throughout the week, and if you didn't go into the right acre one day, you may have just missed something big that was
Yes.
there. And so I feel like going on those wild goose chases got you looking at your entire town and everything. So And population growing was a huge map. I think it's still the biggest to this day. So,
Yes.
and it's the first game. I can't believe we have not achieved that size yet,
Right.
based on like how much consoles have advanced since then. But I do miss that, and I wouldn't mind that coming back. And I feel like it also gets me talking to my villagers a little bit more, because
Yes.
once I get to a certain point in the game, I feel bad that I do it, but I do, and I ignore them. I just don't talk to them, especially after I've gotten to that point where I've already unlocked all my public works projects in New Leaf, so I don't really have a need to talk to anybody, which is sad because you should want to talk to them. So I feel like them getting a little personality boost, them being able to send you off on some mission, I think that helps with your interaction with what's a big part of the game, essentially.
Yes. Yes, definitely. And last, and sort of interesting that it's that I'm picking this last, but I want to know what else is new in the game. I want to see things that they haven't shown us about. During E3, we know for sure the biggest thing is crafting, and that's awesome. And most of us didn't expect it, but I think by now most of us really like it and we cannot wait to start crafting. But there's got to be at least a couple more new things. And like I said, if crafting is the biggest new thing, whatever else is new is probably not going to be as big as crafting. But I still want to see it. I still want to see what else is new. How are they changing the formula that we're used to? For those of us that have been playing Animal Crossing for so long, minor little details or changes, they might be fairly significant to us. So we want to know about those for sure.
Yeah, definitely. I think the new things are always going to be very exciting. Like, did we expect to see a pole vault in action? Did we expect to be able to dig up a tree? The crafting, all of these features are so new. They're just new concepts,
Yes.
that we haven't seen in the game before. And I agree with you. I want to see what else we can do. Like, clearly the team has been working for years upon years on this game to make it something new and distinct. And they've already, like, the crafting alone already changes the formula so much so that people may already be looking at this game like, is this going to be an Animal Crossing game? And for me, I think yes, definitely. But it's going to be the most different mainline Animal Crossing game that we've ever gotten. And I'm glad it's happening because this is going to be game number 5,
Yes.
And we have, if you're ever missing that original Animal Crossing feel, the gameplay where you essentially woke up, go shopping, get as many bells as possible to pay off things, that exists in 4 different iterations, and they're all wonderful. And I'm really excited that we're going to see a new iteration that really mixes things up. I'm going to make a video a little bit later about how this game may be, as many people have been saying, the Breath of the Wild of Animal Crossing.
Oh.
Because, a lot of people really want their games to be the Breath of the Wild of their game,
Yes.
You heard it a lot from the Pokemon fans, and unfortunately, there's a lot of stuff going on with that one right now. We're not going to go into that because we're not a Pokemon podcast. But, like, people want that to be, they just want their favorite franchise to be loved and transformed in a way that expands the game in some way that they didn't think was possible.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, was that your whole list? Was that everything?
Yes.
I think it was great. I am very excited for it. I want to know about all these things. I like the long-lasting aspects you brought up. I like just thinking about like what is returning from New Leaf,
Right.
Like this is a very different game, but obviously Animal Crossing always draws from its previous iterations. So it's going to be interesting to see what's different. And then, yeah, I don't know, man. I'm just ready for news at this point. I really, really want it.
Yes, the further away we get from that initial reveal, even Nintendo has to know. Oh yeah, we gotta talk about this again. I don't know if they feel like they don't want to, but they have to. So it's just a matter of a little more patience again.
Yeah, and it's they like to have a September direct, so it's very likely that we'll be able to see it then.
Yes.
At least like a trailer or something. But I'm really wondering when they're going to talk about it. Just with Zelda coming out in September, Luigi's Mansion in October, and then Pokemon just 2 weeks after Luigi's Mansion. Like it's crazy how
Oof.
close those two games are from each other.
Yes.
So not a lot of time to play Luigi's Mansion because we're gonna switch over to Pokemon.
Yeah.
But yeah, overall, like we're entering those back-to-back months of things. I totally skipped like this month. August is going to be Astral Chain, which is published by Nintendo but made by Platinum Games.
Mhm.
But yeah, we're just seeing right now. It's going to be the busy season. And I'm really wondering if Nintendo's going to make room for it, or and we've had to do this before. Are we gonna wait till January for a direct or February? We know
Oof.
I'm still brought back to this year where January we were all expecting something. We didn't get anything till February. And then by then we were like, they've got to show Animal Crossing at this point. It's coming out this year. And then they didn't show it. And then we were like, oh great, we're in trouble.
Yes.
So then trouble really happened when E3 came along and we found out about the delay. And so we've been through some stuff. So now I'm just like, I don't know. Am I supposed to expect news or not? Probably not, based on how it's gone so far.
Right.
But you know how my little heart works, Sergio. It wants Animal Crossing. So I'm gonna always expect it, and I'm always gonna be let down. Is what I expect to.
Oh man.
Yeah. But anyways, let's go ahead and move into our final segment. That's Haken's Islander Corner. We've got some quick answers today, but for those of you who don't know, every week we ask our patrons on Patreon a question, and then we read some of their answers aloud here. This week's question was, what new fruit would you want to add to Animal Crossing? And of course, I asked this because we had our segment on farming, and I was really interested to see like what other people listed as far as things went. So,
Right.
Sergio, let's go ahead and go back and forth. You can start with this first one.
Sounds good. And our first answer is by Quantrell Tabal. And he says pineapple. And it's so hard to believe that a pineapple is not a consistent item in Animal Crossing, something that you can actually get.
You would have thought that that would have been the tropical fruit item to plant
Right.
after coconuts. And then we got bananas, which also seems obvious, but pineapple feels like it got missed when they
Yes.
added like mangoes, lychee.
Yeah.
Hardly anybody knows what lychee is. And then
Right.
durian, nobody knows durian. Come on. Like there are so many side fruits that they added to our tropical paradise, and not
Right.
pineapple wasn't one of them. You're totally right. It's weird.
Yeah.
But yeah, Quantrell, it's time for them to add pineapple for sure. Indy Sarah said, what I really want are chili peppers. Let me have some spice. And
Oh.
Sergio, how do you feel about spicy things?
I
'Cause
mean, if I have to eat them, I don't want to, but I could.
All right. Yeah, I know you're not the biggest fan of spice, so I thought I'd ask you.
Right.
Because I feel, when did that come up? I feel like that's come up somewhere, maybe on the Discord. I personally love spicy things, so yes, give me
Oh.
those chili peppers. Help it increase my resistance to the snow. Let me run around like Link up in the ice place, and we'll be good to go. This is the Breath of the Wild of Animal Crossing, after all.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Nice. The next answer is by Ellie Bell, and the answer is kiwis. Definitely, they are my favorite. Plus, it would look so cute in Animal Crossing. Yeah, for sure. I mean, kiwi it's also more well known than some of the others that we discussed. So for sure.
Yeah, I'm looking at you, durian. What is that? I honestly don't think I've had one before. I've had lychee, but I don't think I've had durian. But I'm also not a picky eater, so I'd have it. I'd
Yeah,
eat a
yeah.
lot of things, everybody. I like to play the game, what would Chewy not eat?
Oh.
And it's probably bad that that list is very small. But kiwis, yes, those are delicious. I like them. Rain says, avocado, please. Yes, come
Yeah.
on. Yes, come on. That's all I can say. Yes, and come on. Avocados, give us them, please.
Yes. Give us avocado and then the chips item, and then we can combine them.
Yes, we could have. Oh, it would be so cute to have a little party and have your little avocado dish, and then it just gets black as your gameplay goes within hours because it doesn't last.
Yeah.
All good things come to an end, everybody.
The next answer is by Andrew Orto, and the answer is I would love to see things that grow in patches like watermelon or pumpkin patches, depending on the season. It would be cool to grow your own things for summer and fall because the other fruit trees represent the spring so well already. Yes, this is very true. Very seasonal items. That would be so good. And maybe, hopefully, if you're able to use the same patch, but depending on the season, whatever you grow changes, or maybe something grows easier or harder than something else.
I am nonstop nodding my head in approval. I need pumpkins in my town right now. Pumpkins. Okay, side story right here. I'm gonna make this into a video, but essentially, I won't say the main thing, but I will say we've been growing pumpkins, and every year we've tried to grow pumpkins, and every year we have failed. But this year we have a pumpkin. It's growing.
Oh,
It's about probably 4 or 5 inches long right now, and it's getting bigger. I look at it every day, and I'm just like, yes, I'm gonna have a pumpkin for the first time ever. Also, one of them didn't make it, unfortunately, but we have
oh,
another one growing in. So far, our pumpkin plant has two, and every year we try because we really want to have grow our own pumpkins to essentially carve on our own. So
nice.
yeah, we carve pumpkins every year, and this time I'm hoping that we grew our carving pumpkin. So yes. Give me that in Animal Crossing. Let me carve them in Animal Crossing. Put them in front of my doorstep. Oh my goodness.
That'd be great.
Yes. I love all of that. Decorating for the holidays is so much fun. And it's going to be really great if we can do that.
Yeah.
All right. So Cyborg Jiro says, I want berry bushes. And yes, I went off on that for a while already. Berries, they should have existed already. I just feel like they should have?
Yeah, and this could be depending how well we take care of the bushes. Maybe they could just grow a couple of decorative flowers, but if we're really good at it and consistent, we actually get berries and we actually get to collect them and eat them. That would be great.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
The next answer is by Butt Elf, and they say it would be neat if there was bushes with raspberries or grapevines. Oh, grapevines would be cool too.
Yeah, especially like ones that you can grow alongside your house or a fence or something.
Yeah.
See, that's why I want this stuff added. Like, I want the decorative aspects of them because a lot of plants are very pretty. Like, I like plants. I like the environment. I like gardening and all this stuff. So I don't know. I feel like the aesthetics of it are too good to pass up?
Yes.
So Zekin says also grapevines would be neat, but dragon fruit would look really cool.
Oh.
And agreed, dragon fruit does have a really cool look to it. And I was looking it up earlier. I think that also grows on like a vine type of thing. So yes,
Nice.
I think that's a good fit for sure.
Oh yeah, cool, definitely. And Miles says, "What about vegetables?"
Yeah, I didn't ask about vegetables. So maybe next time. But yeah, I mean, vegetables are a possibility for sure, especially if, we're just getting more crops that we can plant and harvest.
Yes.
but it's not Harvest Moon, so probably not. Medi says pizza fruit, which I feel okay. I feel like it's a cute way of saying tomato, but also pizza should grow on trees.
Oh, that. Oh, that would make me start liking fruit then.
That's true. That's true.
And our last answer for the week is by some Italian people. And the person says cantaloupe. They especially remind me of summer, but since I can buy the juicy, delightful melons from the supermarket all year round, why shouldn't I be able to grow them in Animal Crossing? I think melons in general would be a great new addition because of their size. Maybe you could split one with another villager in your town and have a little picnic? Yes, definitely. And, melons have been a part of previous Nintendo games. I'm definitely thinking of Yoshi's Story. So, oh, yeah, I think it's a big omission by now.
Yeah, and I really like what they brought up about like growing them in the summer and making that point about being able to get them at the supermarket all year round. Like that's kind of a strange thing. It's pretty unique to some areas. Like not all areas have out of season fruit everywhere.
Right.
But I do think it would be cool to have like seasonal crops in Animal Crossing, just like we have seasonal bugs and fish and everything. So I don't know. I think if the stuff they add beyond the fruit trees and everything is different, I think it'd be fun to differentiate it a little bit more by making it a seasonal thing.
Yes.
And yeah, I don't know. I guess that's all I can really think of right now for that. But I do find that intriguing, and it'd be cool to have like a special crop that you grow each season, and then having like some sort of, I guess, catalog that tracks what you've been able to grow. Like even adding that for the hybrid flowers and everything, giving us like a checklist that shows us everything that we've grown and done. I think that is really nice for Animal Crossing.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. We are big completionists, so any little tracking thing or catalog, yeah, we want it.
Definitely. So yeah, I think that's everything. We've covered it all. We've answered all the questions. Well, we've read all the answers to the questions, but yeah, Sergio, anything else you'd like to say before I close out the show?
When do you think we're gonna hear more news about New Horizons? Any guesses?
I mean, I think we tend to get directs in the fall. This year has been very strange because we got one in February, we got one in June. They've been very like few and far between, but we have gotten like game specific directs. So the weird thing is, I feel like we may get like a Luigi's Mansion direct in, I don't know, September, early October or something. I just don't know when a general direct is going to fall. I could see it happening September because that's usually when Nintendo likes to do it, but
Right.
Nintendo, they're unpredictable all the time. They're always changing, so there's no way to say it, but I'll say either September or October. What are you thinking?
I'm thinking the same thing, and I agree for sure that I think Luigi's Mansion 3 is the game that needs a specific direct the most. But you know what? I think they might do a general direct, half of it, and then the other half for Luigi. And I can see them doing that probably a week before Zelda comes out, which is September 20, I believe. So, middle of September, I can see them pretty much getting the news out for the rest of the year.
Yeah. Yeah, and we already know Banjo Kazooie is on the way. That's going to be our fall character, but we're going to need like those winter characters essentially. Like, is there a character going to come out? Because two more have to come out before like February, right?
Yes.
So I don't know. I feel like at this point, Smash is something you kind of tuck into a direct. It's not going to get like its whole own thing up until like a character's coming out. So there's a big, kind of a bigger video for them, displaying what they can do.
Right.
So yeah, I don't know. I feel like if there's enough news, if there's enough stuff that we don't really know about it, and Nintendo also kind of has to set up their springtime, and they usually do it in the autumn/winter. So yeah, I feel like as we get a little bit further into this year, it's going to be time to start setting up what our expectations should be for 2020.
Yes.
Which right now, I'm expecting Animal Crossing. So, and I'm expecting it because they've given us a date at this point. It should be solid. It should be set. I hope they don't delay it again. That's all I can say about that. But we've already seen it delayed once, and hopefully this solidified date means it's not going to get delayed again.
Yes, I think so.
Yeah. All right, everybody. Well, thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of Haken, an Animal Crossing podcast. Don't want the episode to end? Well, you can keep the conversation going by Nintendo switching over to our Discord. Just follow the link in the description, and you can talk with other people who love Animal Crossing as much as you do, including Sergio and me. Want to support the show in a bigger way and get your voice heard during the show? Visit patreon.com/ChewyPlaysNintendo. You can support our show with just $1, have an episode dedicated to you, get special access to a secret room on Discord, join in on the Haken Islanders Corner, and even read a monthly newsletter covering all things Haken and Chewy Plays. We really appreciate your support and put your money toward great things on the show. Tuned in on YouTube, the comments are a great place to let us know your answers to the Haken Islander Corner. What fruit do you want in New Horizons? And while you're there, let us know what you feel about farming being added to AC. If you dig what you hear, please KK slide over to that review section on your platform of choice. Let people know what they're missing out on. Haken is a wild production brought to you by Chewy, Sergio, and all of our patrons. We thank you for listening, and we hope you have a great week.
Goodbye, everybody.